The September 17, 2018 meeting of the Environment and Public Works Committee will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Broth. Here. Chairman Brew.
Here.
Ms. DeFlorio. Here. Mr. Flagler-Mitchell.
Here.
Mr. Howland.
Here.
Mr. Mafucci.
Here.
Mr. Wilt.
Here.
Is there anyone signed up for the public forum?
There is not.
Is there anyone present who has not signed up to speak who would like to address the committee at this time? The next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. You have the August 27, 2018 minutes of the Environment and Public Works Committee before you. They will stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. Next item on the agenda is new business. Madam Clerk.
Referral 18-0255.
Move it, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Moved by Legislator Wilt, seconded by Legislator DeFlorio. Any discussion on this item? Legislator Baroff.
Through you to the administration, I have a couple questions here. Where is the property that's not currently being utilized at? What's being added?
Through the chair, this property is adjacent to the AvFlight building, and as you may remember from prior resolutions, that's the old JetSmart building along Scottsville Road, and it's vacant property. The interim director is trying very hard to identify vacant property and find uses for it, as long as it doesn't cost us anything.
Fair enough. And through the chair of the administration, how much will be the total parcel when you add in this 28,000 square feet?
Through the chair, I'll have to get back to you on how big the 28,000 square feet is a very small part of what the total parcel will be, but I don't know the size, the footprint of the entire lease parcel.
If you could, go ahead.
I will get that for you through the chair.
Thank you. As a last question that might lead someplace, this is for $10,640 per year, and through the chair, that works out to being about $2.61 per square foot. Is that a reasonable amount, and how is that amount determined?
Through the chair, we've got that amount through the real property staff, and they have already done an appraisal on all the property along there, the unimproved property, and that's where we got the value.
Thank you. Through the chair of the administration, so this is an unimproved property then?
Through the chair, it is unimproved, and any improvements will be at the cost of AvFlight.
Okay, and then finally, the rest of the parcel that AvFlight has, I presume that the total cost that they currently pay for that parcel or that section of the overall parcel is going to be somewhat more than $2.61 per square foot, through the chair?
Through the chair, I don't know the cost per square foot. However, it was done the same way through the real property department giving us the fair market value, and that's what the lease was for.
Okay, so through the chair of the administration, then I can kind of assume that for pieces that were developed, they have buildings on, things like that, it'd be more than 261, and for pieces that perhaps are undeveloped or maybe parking or something like that, might be slightly more or the same as 261. Through the chair.
Through the chair, I would assume so, and I will send through the administration if I am incorrect in that.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's right.
Yes, Legislator DeFlorio.
Through the chair, do we know what they'll be utilizing this additional space for? Does it have a specific purpose?
Through the chair, they will use it for parking of their major trucks and possibly tie downs of small planes.
And then through the chair, do you have the total cost of the current lease, sublease?
Through the chair, I do not have that with me, but I can get that for you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing that there are none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 18-0256.
Moved by Legislator DeFlorio, seconded by Legislator Howland. Legislator Wilt.
Through the chair, when do you expect this project to begin?
Through the chair, we are attempting to get it started in 2018 after we have another project you might have heard of that's going on, and we've asked the engineers to hold off until October 31st, and then we'll go forward. So the engineering part, the design part will go first, and that can overlap, but anything greater than that will be moved out.
Okay, and through the chair, are we completing this project due to a FAA requirement?
Through the chair, we are continuously updating runways and runway areas as some of our infrastructure is aged. And when we can get the FAA money, as you might have noticed, we get 90% back from them and 5% from New York State DOT. So whenever we can take advantage of getting those funds, we do, and we are updating our runway areas. And
Okay, thank you.
Legislator Flagler Mitchell.
Chairman, through you to the administration. With 3 months left on in 2018, when will this work begin?
through the chair, the design work will begin rather quickly, and it is hoped that the actual work will begin before the end of the year, and we'll start what we can start.
Okay, through you to the administration, the end of this year, 2018?
Through the chair, that's correct.
All right, thank you. And what is, thank you, that answered both of my questions I had.
Legislator Mafucci.
Thank you. Through you to the administration. There's a local funding component to this, and in the referral it says the local funding for this project will ultimately be provided by the Monroe County Airport Authority from airport-generated revenues. No additional net county support is required in the current Monroe County budget. What does ultimately mean?
Mr. Chairman, that means Monroe County Department of Aviation, through its enterprise fund, advances the funds to complete the project and then bills back capital costs to the Airport Authority on a monthly basis. So we will get, Monroe County spends the dollar and then bills back the authority.
Thank you.
Legislator Baroff.
Through you to the administration, when do we expect this request or this for contract services, design services to go to Passero Associates?
Through the chair, if I understand the question, this is a term contract that we have with Passero, and if the question was when do we expect it to go to Passero, it will go once we have approval.
So they don't have it yet, correct, through the chair?
Through the chair, no, they don't, I don't believe.
Excellent. And then secondly, it mentions that the project's going to include a relocation of FAA-owned navigation facilities. Is that our obligation to pay for that, through the chair?
Through the chair, almost everything from the federal government is our responsibility. However, in this case, we're getting 90% back. So, in essence, they're paying us for part of
Okay.
our costs.
Thank you. And since this is simply moving up a project that was already in the CIP by 1 year, am I correct to assume there are no other associated changes to the CIP through the chair?
Through the chair, there are no, now that this is an FAA request to move it up, and there's no other changes.
Okay. Thank you.
Legislator Mafucci.
Through the chair to the administration. I just have one more question, just for my understanding. So the current share is, the local funding component is paid by and through airport revenues. So no levy tax dollars are used. The dollars that pay for this to cover the local share are paid through the airport authority.
Through the chair, that's correct.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Any other questions? Hearing that there are none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 18-0257.
Moved by legislator Howland, seconded by legislator Wilt. Is there any discussion? Legislator Baroff.
You to the administration, does Snorac LLC currently lease this space? And if yes, for how long? Through the chair.
Through the chair, Snorac does not rent this space. There is a part of it that they have a month-to-month to use it under a license agreement.
Thank you. And through the chair of the administration, is Snorac comprised of Alamo Enterprise and National Car?
Through the chair, those are three brands that Snorac rents rents to the public from the airport.
Okay. And through the chair of the administration, the square footage on this is about 47,000 feet. Is that correct? Through the chair.
Through the chair, that is correct.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Legislator Mafucci.
Through you to the administration, the square footage cost starts at 51 cents a square foot. How is that determined?
Through the chair, this went out to RFPs, and the participant that was chosen, that is what they offered, and that's above what our fair market value is. So they won the right to enter into a lease with us.
Thank you.
Legislator DeFlorio.
Yes, through the chair, how many responses were there to the RFP?
Through the chair, there were only two.
Is there any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 18-0258.
Moved by legislator Wilt, seconded by legislator DeFlorio. Any discussion? And there is legislator Flagler Mitchell.
To the administration, what is the expected timeline for this work?
Through the chair, the expected time frame for this work is the same as on the other project. The design work would get underway rather quickly, and then as soon as, weather permitting, as soon as we could, we'd start the project.
Okay, thank you. And also, how does the airport expect to manage all the flights under the construction?
Through the chair, we have enough runways so that when there is construction, we can reroute planes departing and arriving.
Thank you.
Legislator DeFlorio.
Yes, through the chair, was this contract put through an RFP process?
Through the chair, this was an RFP process originally to get the term contracts, and then we chose two contractors under the term contracts.
Legislator Baroff.
Through the chair of the administration, one of your responses piqued my interest because I had been wondering about it. Is this the same grant that we're getting from the FAA that was in Resolution 256? Are those separate grants, or how does that work through the chair?
Through the chair, I believe it is all part of the one FAA application we do each year with all our different projects. So it's not a specific grant that we have to, it's not specifically applied for. It's an overall grant for the improvements. And then we have an overall grant, and then we get the paperwork per project, and we close out per project when we complete a project. So it's probably the same pot of money at the FAA, although I can't swear to that. I really, we don't get into their funding.
No, that's okay.
As long as they give us the cash.
So the obvious follow-up question then through the chair would be, so what is this year's total FAA allocation?
You don't know that, do you? Through the chair, I'll have to get that to you. I'm sorry, I don't know that number.
Okay. And then along with that, if you could, through the chair, is the total FAA allocation number, then how much has already been well, the process has been completed, it's been allocated, we know where it's going exactly, and what that amount is. And then finally, through the chair, if we know where the rest is going, as long as the paperwork goes through. In other words, what's the plan for this year, all in one shot? Because we get this piece by piece, and, you know, we piece it together, but it'd be handy to see what the plan is for the year based on what we know we're getting from the FAA, through the chair.
Through the chair, I hope I didn't mislead you with my earlier questions. We have a list of projects going through, and the FAA picks what we're going to do next. They prioritize our list of what they think is natural. So I'm not positive we could supply you with what's going to happen through the end of the year, as they will tell us what else is going to happen.
And so through the chair of the administration, they haven't actually told you, except for what they've already given you the funds for, correct, through the chair?
Through the chair, that is correct.
Okay, then I'll just go back to asking for what's the total amount we already have and how much left can we expect for the rest of the year, through the chair.
Through the chair, I can get you that number.
Thank you very much.
I have a question for the administration. The second referral referred to improvements for the taxiway on runway, supporting runway 1028 or taxiway 1028. And we're talking about improvements to runway 422. My question is, will the two projects be occurring concurrently? And if so, will that affect any of the airport throughput ability between these two projects?
To the chair, they could occur at the same time. There's a possibility of that, but we purposely do not do anything that will negatively affect being able to receive planes and send planes out.
Okay.
So our engineers coordinate around that.
Okay, so a follow-up question to that would be that runway 422 is the east-west shorter runway, or is that the longer north-south runway?
Well, the project we're talking about right now is east-west.
On this particular referral?
Yes.
Right, okay.
Sir, my lack of compass skills are.
Okay, thank you. Any other further questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? Item carries. I think that concludes our new business. Do we have one more? Next item, please.
Referral 18-0259.
That was moved by Legislator DeFlorio, seconded by Legislator Howland. Is there any discussion? Legislator Flagler Mitchell.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to the administration. Who from Monroe County sit on this committee?
Through the chair, staff from Environmental Services will participate.
Okay. And thank you. And also through you, Chair, through you, Chair. Are the work results of this committee available online?
Through the chair, the Watershed Coalition does have a website, but Monroe County does not participate in keeping that website up to date.
Okay. Thank you.
Legislator DeFlorio.
Yes, through the chair, are there currently any planned projects, or is this just starting the ball rolling?
Through the chair, this is the beginning of the cooperation.
Thank you.
Legislator Baroff.
Through the chair of the administration, for the Watershed Committee, how many members are on the Watershed Committee? How large is this committee?
Through the chair, I'll have to get back to you with that information.
Thank you. Then, through the chair of the administration, it lists out, a number of things like farmers, businesses, homeowners, and other interested citizens to represent a broad range. Do we know if there are any residents of Monroe County who are not members of the environmental services staff who are participating in this committee?
Through the chair, I'll have to get back to you with that information.
Okay, and I'm assuming that's possible to do through the chair prior to the legislative meeting. Is that correct?
Through the chair, that's correct.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, item carries. And that concludes our new business. Are there any other matters to come before the committee? Being that there are no other matters, the September 17th, 2018 meeting of the Environment and Public Works Committee stands adjourned. The next meeting of the Environment and Public Works Committee will be held on Monday, October 22nd, 2018 at 5:45 p.m.